Hello learners, welcome to the session that is going to make you understand how to deal with unions and its association. I am Dr. L.K. Jana and I am going to take you through a 30 minutes of session that will make you to understand first about trade unionism. Second is about the trade union and the labor movement that took place in India. From there, we'll discuss about what are the formative stages of trade union, the definition of trade union, the objectives of a trade union. From the objectives that is set by the trade union, what are the procedures or ways they have used or they are using to achieve those objectives. And finally, we'll be talking about the functions of trade union. First of all, why trade union? Trade union, basically they have emerged along with the modern industrial development. Trade unions has occupied a very important place in the socio-economic and political transformation of a country. Though trade union contributes to the socio-economic transformation of a country, only they can realize this vision if they are organizationally strong. Therefore, effective leadership of trade union is a very important factor behind the growth, strength and effectiveness. How this trade union is? Trade union is basically a byproduct of industrial revolution. Before the industrial revolution, the production processes that was followed, they were not been mechanized, since the skill of the worker was very much required. It was not been easy for the employer to lose a skilled craftsman. It was very difficult actually to replace him. The employers and workers mutually depend on each other, both in any kinds of production, whether you count it as a cottage production, which happens to be a predominance before mechanization. The individual skill of the worker was not considered very important. But after industrialization or industrial revolution, which I have spoken earlier, when there was the introduction of large-scale production that took place, at that point of time, big machines and equipments got introduced. It was not possible for the workers to become the owners of the instruments of production. So to eke out their livelihood, the employees were forced to seek employment from the big capitalists who had become owners of the then modern industries. Therefore, you may see over here the dependence of the workers on the capitalist employer got increased. This particular activity that has happened has led to the weakening of the position of the workers. Therefore, in order to safeguard their interest and to raise their power of bargaining, they had no other means but they had to form the trade union. Therefore, trade union has got to be the workman's answer to this industrial revolution, which has led to the exploitation of the working class. Individually, the worker actually can easily be dispensed with, but collectively, you mind my words learners, but collectively they become indispensable, and no employer can afford to lose all his workers at a given time. Therefore, when they form a union or when the employees form a trade union, they are in a position to fight against the employer on an equal footing in order to safeguard their rights and to bring about a reasonable improvement in their economic positions. Let me take you through the trade union and the labor movement that took place in a country like India. If you see India, India is primarily an agricultural economy. This is a sizable working class also as well. So establishment of new industries after independence, this has resulted in an increase in the industrial workforce. People who were working in factories, whether it is large or small, whether they are employed as permanent or temporary, or say casual or contract, or for example, they are employed as a skilled, unskilled or semi-skilled worker, whether they are educated or uneducated, but they are the industrial workforce. So in usual parlance, the terms what is invariably being used, for example, many people use as labor movements or trade union movements, they are being used interchangeably. So one important point, learners, you may note it over here, is that the trade union constitute the institutionalized core of the labor movements. The main reason over here for referring to trade union as a movement is because of its formal structure, the membership, the organizational hierarchy, which was absent in different other forms of movement. The main purpose of any trade union movement is to ensure or is to improve the conditions of the worker. If you see the history of the trade union movement, as I told that we need to refer in terms of the Indian trade union labor movements, it is closely related to Indian national movement. Prior to independence, all the movements that took place in India, whether it is political or economic, they were aimed to overthrow the colonial system that we were governed at that point of time. But when Mahatma Gandhi came and his non-violence came into play, that is called the Gandhian phase, most of the movements were economic in nature, then got to be political. So workers' movements confronted both the British imperialism and Indian capitalist. So by the end of the World War II, the communist and the Congress supporters, they were greatly reduced because each of the party, they began to question the tactics or methods that is followed by the other party against the colonial rules. After independence, what I have discussed about is the before independence, but after independence, there was actually a growing discontent and dissatisfaction among the workers because there was more emphasis at that point of time was given on establishing capitalism. That to a great extent, it has led to suffering and exploitations of the large sections of the country. Similarly, at that point of time, post-independence, there was a great inflation that is coming to play. There happens to be price rise, which has actually resulted in a fall in the real wage of the workers. Actually, these are the deplorable conditions. And such conditions has instigated a resistance movement among the working class all over the country. The industrial sector, basically, if we see the industrial sector, we can refer in terms of two classes or two sections of the society. One is called as a capitalist class and the other one is to be called as a labor class. It is the capitalist who is providing money and management for the establishment of the industries. It is the capitalist, they buy the land, they erect the building, installs the machineries and hires the labor establishment of an industry. The capitalists are the people who plan the production and furnish the required raw materials. So after completion of these preliminaries, actually the employees or the labor get recruited. So how these people, they are being utilized by the capitalist? They use the labor according to their plan and requirement of their project and pay them the wages fixed and mutually, that is, agreed on. Therefore, the capitalist, if you see the capitalist and the labor over here, the capitalist is having a major say in an industry. You see, at present moment, a capitalist in any industry, they engages hundreds of workers. And now another problem is the labor supply is plentiful. The capitalist, basically, they are finding no problem to find as many workers as they want. The class of worker is a class of actually the poor people, because this class has no other means of livelihood except getting the labor or getting engaged as a labor under the capitalist. So the doing of labor is a capital which cannot be accumulated. Therefore, the workers have to sell their labor in order to earn their livelihood. And this gets to be as a continuous process, and there is not any possibility of getting away from the inevitable of continuous sale of labor and services in order to find the livelihood. The industrialists take the chance over here. You see, keeping these conditions in mind, obviously an industrialist will take the chance and will exploit the situation. What they used to do is that they pay the worker arbitrarily some of the fixed wages, and they try to derive maximum possible amount of work from them. So as a consequence, there was an intense mechanization of industry, while the conditions of worker has become more hopeless. So the modern industry, if you see at present, it has become highly sophisticated. Working in factories, you go to any manufacturing organization, working in factories is highly excellent work. Therefore, under such circumstances, the workers run a very high risk to their life by doing the work in factories. The industrialists, however, are bent upon maximum exploitations of the worker. The worker naturally wish to avoid the state of exploitations. Individually and singly, the plight of the workers stands to be hopeless. They are not being expected to resist at all the maneuvering or mechanization of such industrialists. So therefore, if we get into the formative stage of the trade union, we may find over here as the means of trade union that has undergone a very difficult or a hostile period in the initial years. I think if you see in the Indian context, as we discussed, in the pre-independence time, obviously there were a very difficult and a hostile. What the employer used to do, the capitalists, they were crushing with the iron hands. But then came the period of agitation and occasional acceptance. When the union has gained strength, they started confronting with the employer, because this is the period of struggle that continued for long. Employers were being forced to accommodate, tolerate, and hesitatingly accepting them. And then came the period of understanding the force or the way that is called as the collective bargaining. This was followed by fraternal stage, where unions got matured and employees started consulting. And this desired stage is called as a fusion stage, where the joint efforts were required to be made for union management, cooperation, and partnership. Let me take you through another way out is to be called as the definition of trade union. If you'll see the definition of trade union, we may find, first of all, the study it is kind of a study of the nature and growth of the trade unionism. I think till now, whatever we have discussed is about the growth of trade unionism that has happened. And similarly, the functions as well as the role of trade union in any country, basically, it cannot be neglected. In a developing economy or a country that is aspiring for economic development, it is expected that there should be systematic study on trade unionism, because it is very, very essential to examine scientifically the existing and potential forms of human institutions so as to discover their impact upon the economic growth of the community, because in turn it can become a thorough understanding of the institutions themselves, starting from their origin to the functions, possibilities, and the laws of growth. So when we are discussing about the definition of trade union, I would like to refer the Trade Union Act that has enacted in 1926, wherein the section 2B of Trade Union Act says, or the definition of trade union as any combination, whether it is temporary or a permanent, which is primarily formed for the purpose of regulating the relationship between workman and workman, or between employer and employer, or between workman and employer, or for imposing restrictive condition on the conduct of any trade or business, and it includes any federations of two or more unions. This has been, a definition being given by the Barrett itself, but different authors in the field of industrial relations and personal management, they have defined trade union in varied and different ways. The various definitions that I am going to discuss over here may be exhibiting certain important common features, but trade union has been defined in terms of functions actually it is expected to perform. For example, if I'll be referring an author whose name is Dale Yoder, he says, a union, it is a continuing long-term association of employees, and it is formed and maintained for the specific purpose of advancing and protecting the interest of its members in their working relationships. According to J.H. Richardson, that is another person who has defined trade union, he told, a trade union is essentially an association of workers. It is an association of workers, and they are being formed to safeguard and improve the working condition of the members. And more generally, the trade union is supposed to raise the status and promote the vocational interests. So therefore, a trade union is a continuous association of workers for the purpose of maintaining and improving the conditions of both, that is working and living. They are formed in order to promote economic interest as well as the welfare of their members. So whatever I spoken, if we take it up in the form of a nutshell, we can say that the primary role of a trade union is to protect, maintain, and improve the economic and social interest of the member employees. However, they should not be viewed merely as organizations that is just meant for maintaining and improving the social and economic interest and welfare of its members. But their role is also valuable, is very important in keeping the harmonious relationship between the worker and management, because that is what it is a prerequisite for the continuity and economic progress of an industrial concern. Let me take you through the objectives of trade union. Why a trade union is formed? A trade union is formed to achieve a set of objectives. Number one, it is representing the employees or workers on various participative forums. It is supposed to organize it is a kind of organization of all eligible members who can be kept under one platform. Trade union represents the workers to management in case of disputes or any kind of differences. Trade union enters in the collective bargaining and similar other agreements on behalf of its workers. It undertakes various activities for the welfare of its members. It also provides benefits to the members In case the members or the employees, if they get sick or during their old age, when there is a trade dispute, when there is an unemployment or a litigation, or for example the funeral expenses. And similarly, it furthers the political activities also. Trade union also helps in participating in the work of any association that furthers the activities of trade union and its members. It arranges the necessary activities for the upliftment, for example, the social upliftment or moral upliftment. So to achieve these objectives, trade union actually need to employ varieties of ways and means. The means are depending on the attitude of the union regarding the economic system in which they operate, or the degree of group and the class consciousness among its members, the nature of political organization, and the nature and type of the trade union leadership. Let me take you through, suppose when we set these set of 10 objectives which is there in the slide, what are the possible ways of achieving the objectives? The achievement of objectives can happen, for example, number one, as organization of union. Organization of union may be on the basis of the craft and industry, such as general union and professional employee association. Number two, recognition of union, because this is an exclusive bargaining agent, that is a representative union. They need to advocate the interest of its employees. So recognition over here may be voluntary or forced one by the secret ballot system. Number three, as I mentioned earlier, is a collective bargaining. This is to be called as the heart of industrial relations. I call it as the heart of the industrial relations. Because through collective bargaining, the terms and conditions are determined under which both the parties, that is the employer and workman, work together. The fourth one is called as a union security. And this can be achieved through closed shops, union shops, or for example, agency shops, or some other arrangement that gives the union control over hiring or supervising or discharging its workers. Number five, the grievance processing and handling procedures. Under this, the grievances are answered by correcting the situation or channeling it up in the line itself. When the grievance gets to the chief executive officer, it has to be resolved, or it needs to be sent out outside to an outsider for settlement. Number six, I think negotiating arrangement with the management. This is also important, because negotiating the deals with the wages and conditions of employment, personal and job security, increased employee benefits, medical assistance, or retirement benefits need to be taken. There is another method that's called as an arbitration. This is through which the unsettled disputes could be settled by an outside agency. Similarly, political pressures that can happen through legislators who can bring about the changes in the legislation of the country itself. Most importantly, the mutual insurance, that is through common contribution for meeting the financial needs of the workers when there are the stoppages pertaining to industrial unrest. So the last part is, let's talk about what is the functions of the trade union. The functions of the trade union, if you will see the Trade Union Act that was enacted in 1926, the primary function of a trade union is to protect and promote the interest of the workers and the conditions of their employment. They can have their objectives, but which may not be inconsistent, which may be inconsistent with the primary purpose or opposed by any law. For example, in India, trade union normally undertake following sets of functions. For example, it is supposed to achieve the higher wages and better working and living conditions for its members. They need to acquire control over industry by workers, need to minimize the helplessness of the individual workers by making them stand up unitedly and increasing their resistance power to collective bargaining, protecting the members against victimization and injustice by the employers, to raise the status of the workers as partners in industry and citizens of society by demanding an increasing share for them the management of industrial enterprises, to generate self-confidence among the workers, to encourage sincerity and discipline among the workers. Also, they need to take up the welfare measures for improving the morale of the workers. So these are something what in India, the trade unions generally undertake. If you see the National Commission on Labour, that has underscored certain basic function to which the trade union have to pay somewhat a greater attention, are in the form of, for example, one is called as securing the fair wage for workers, safeguarding the security for tenure and improved conditions of their services, enlarging the opportunities for specifically for the promotions and training, improvising their working and living conditions, extending them the education, cultural and recreational facilities, cooperate and facilitate the technological advancement, and that can happen by broadening the understanding of the workers in the issues involving their job, promoting identity of interest of the workers with the industry itself, and to offer responsive cooperations for improving levels of production and productivity, discipline and high standard of quality. But ultimately they are supposed to promote individual welfare and collective welfare. Therefore, the principal function of the trade union, what you discussed, it is the regulation of relations, and for whom? It is between the employers and employees, and also to extend the provision of benefits to its members. So it is to be noted that their functions are not static but changes with the change in the economic and social setup of the country itself. So, well friends, in this session we discussed about the very introduction of trade unionism. We spoke about trade union and labor movements in India. We have discussed about the different stages, the formative stages of trade union, how actually they have been evolved up. The set of definition of trade union, starting with the Trade Union Act 1926 and followed with it some of the relied authors who spoke about the trade union, the objectives of trade union, the ways of achieving those objectives that is being set by the trade union, and finally we spoke about the functions of the trade union. So this is all about the first part on understanding the union and its association. Thank you so much, friends.